The What's up, everybody? Andrew Cooper here. Howard Bender. Sorry for the technical difficulties on the way in. Today, we are jumping in with some tiers, baby. Folks that were with us before the NFL draft, you saw we went through the rookies. We had Pat Fitzmaurice on, Dave Kluge. We went through and hit on all the rookies, got them up into these tiers, right? And I really think it set the tone for all the rankings that we did going into the draft. I love the process. So what I decided to do, why not bring on Mr. Howard Bender and do it for every position? Howard, first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm doing real well, actually. Got a lot of stuff going on over at Fantasy Alarm. We're doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work for our draft guide, which is supposed to launch very soon, and just kind of keeping the home fires burning on a number of fronts there across all sports. So I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. Had a little 2-day trip, but now we're back at it. So, all right, I want to get into this quick because we got a lot of guys to go through. Here are the basic rules, Howard, because you haven't been here for one of these shows. I'm pulling up this puppy. It's got the tiers here. Let's make ourselves real small so everyone can see what's going on here. Perfecto. It's got different tiers here that we're gonna call these different groups. So we'll call this top one Elite. Second one QB1s. Next one Upside QB2s. After that, safe QB2. Bottom one, starting at least. And then after that, bench guys. We're going through, we're putting the guys in tiers and ranking them from left to right. And there's only one additional rule, Howard, a very important one. You and I are going to have a debate on whether or not we like these guys. At any given point, you can invoke your double stamp. Everybody, each of us gets one. And you know how it works with double stamps, right, Howard? You can't triple stamp a double stamp. So if you say Bo Nix is elite, and I'm like, no, he's upside QB2, you can step in and say, hey, you know what? I believe in this player. I'm double stamping him, and we're putting him where I want. So everybody gets one of those. You're allowed to use it. You don't have to use it, though. So
okay,
just so you know, you can dig it. All right, so let's go through. First one here, we got alphabetical order. So that actually makes things really easy because the first player, Josh Allen. Where do you want to put him?
Well, you got to throw him up in elite.
Yeah. I mean, that's easy. The real question is whether he's QB1 or QB2, honestly, but we'll get to that when we get there. We got a lot of guys.
I don't know if he's QB2, if he's QB1. I really don't. I'm actually having a hard time ranking him as QB1.
See, that's where I'm at too, man. That's where I'm at. And the what concerns me a little bit is that guys his age very rarely run the ball over 100 times. It's literally just him, Mike Vick, and Cam Newton. I wonder if maybe he is going to dial back. He only ran 102 times last year, just barely crossing that threshold. And the guys that are really like going crazy are running like 140, 150 times. So
I think it's also you're talking about adjustments being made on the offense. Like since Joe Brady took over, again, there's I think that we're going to see him run less, just in the sense that I think Joe Brady kind of wants to just dink and dunk. Like, I don't even think he wants to stretch the field all that much. They will at some point, but I kind of feel like it's it's turning into one of these short crossing route dink and dunk offense that Joe Brady was implementing back when he was running the show over at Carolina.
Right. It's like they did the whole, we have one good wide receiver, we're going to chuck it downfield to him with Stephon Diggs 150 times, and it does kind of seem like they decided they're not going to do that anymore. Khalil Shakir had like 30 passes that were at or behind the line of scrimmage last year, and that's the guy that led the team in targets, right? So I guess that's just who they are now. That's maybe that's what they want to do. So he's obviously elite. We'll see where he ends up from the left to right rankings. This next player, this is a question. Is Joe Burrow, does he go in the elite category or the QB1 category? I think that's the real question here.
I mean, me personally, I put him in the QB1 category because he's not a mobile QB, right? He's not picking up the added rushing yards. And if that defense actually does start clamping down on the opposition, then he's not going to have to throw. The reason that Joe Burrow, that everybody's, lapping it up is because the team's committed so much money to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow for that matter, that they just feel like it's a pass heavy situation. But the bottom line is that the reason they threw so much was because they couldn't hold the opposition in check at all, and they needed to. So, excuse me. I think if he gave us rushing upside, then I'd say elite. But in the meantime, I'll stick him at QB1.
I fully agree, man. I fully agree. We do reserve the right to move guys around as the show goes on, but that's where he's going for now. He has to go there. And I mean, this is a fantasy football show. There are a lot of quarterbacks that are elite NFL quarterbacks in terms of winning games and managing games that aren't elite fantasy football quarterbacks. Tom Brady was only an elite fantasy football quarterback essentially the year he threw 50 touchdowns, right? For the exact reason you described. To have that like game breaking, difference making upside, you do have to have enough mobility. So, I mean, he's probably going to be the fringe. I think he has to be first in that QB1 group or he goes up.
Sure.
That's where he needs to live. Next guy here, Kirk Cousins. Do we think he's going to start at all?
I don't think so.
So we'll just throw him there on the bench. And again, we'll have to. So for these bottom two categories, I want to let's just define what those are going to be. Starting at least should be the guys that we think should start, whether they're starting or not. Are you cool with that?
Wait, say that one more time.
So when we say starting at least, we should make or why don't we make that category they should start. So that'll be the guys we want to start from these kind of questionable groups, and then bench will be guys we don't want to start. Does that make sense?
That's fair.
Perfect. All right, next guy here, big one. We got Jaden Daniels. There are arguments to make him QB1 overall. They truly are, but I'm not sure if I can go there yet.
I'm not going to put him at QB1 right now. But I mean, he is definitely elite, and that's the question: is he QB2? Is he QB3? He's not my QB1, but I mean, he's definitely up there. And again, because you have to look and see what's going on with Washington. I know what Cliff Kingsbury is saying right now, that Jaden Daniels is going to take a big major step forward, but I'm not going to bank on coach speak at this point right now. I think we're fine leaving him as an elite level guy.
Bingo. And I think QB3 for me is where I think that's where I have him right now. Just because there is with Jalen Hurts, there is the threat that they run it a ton like last year. With Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, maybe there's the threat that they dial it back on the running, but we haven't seen it yet. And with Cam Newton, I mean, I know he probably should have stopped running earlier, but guys built that size like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, they probably can change how we think about like 28, 29-year-old 30 QBs in terms of running. So that's a good place to live. Sammy, we're in alphabetical order here, folks. So Sam Darnold comes after Daniels. This is an interesting one.
I'm gonna put him into safe QB.
I think that's where he lives, and I actually don't mind picking him in best ball because I like the values on JSN and Cooper Kupp. So I circle back and kind of grab him. Yeah, he's going like QB like 26, 27. So it's really not that hard to get him.
Yeah, it's going to be a run first offense there. He's got some receiving weapons. He's going to throw the ball, but I mean, you're looking at a guy who's probably like 3,500 yards, maybe a touchdown or two.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Imagine being an NFL quarterback, Howard, where it's like, of course you get all the money in the world, but this guy threw 35 touchdown passes. He got MVP votes last year, and you and me are sitting here and we're like, yeah, he's fine. He's one of
all right. Well, I mean, it's just a different offense, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
But it's true though. It's like he's easily one of the 30 best people in the world at his job, and we're just like, yeah, whatever. Like, dude, it's such a tough job.
I mean, but like we saw him flame out with the Jets. He did fine in San Francisco. He did well in a pass-heavy scheme with a guy like Justin Jefferson attached to him. So yeah, I mean, listen, I think he's got a downgrade in receiving core, a downgrade probably in the number of pass attempts that he throws. Doesn't mean that he's not a safe guy, that you can't get away with it, but he's going, his ADP kind of dishes it out for us.
Right. That's it. That's exactly what it is. It has to be a multiple quarterback format because I just don't see what the upside is. So I'm with you, man. Next one here. This is probably the first true debate between they should start or not. This picture here is Mr. Jackson Dart. Yes. Yeah, there's no labels on these, so hopefully we can recognize all the boys here. But yes, that one's Jackson Dart. Should he start or should he sit out for a year?
Well, I don't necessarily know if he should sit out for a year, but I do think that he's not going to start right from the word go. I think a lot of it's going to depend on what happens with the Giants, right?
Yeah,
Because I mean, you can't tell me that you're intending for Jackson Dart to start unless you're telling me that you're cutting either Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson. Like one of those two has to go.
right. Yeah, because again, yeah, you're right. If you're holding out any hope for the season, and here's the problem I run into in fantasy hour is if the team's good, then Russell Wilson might just start the entire year. If the team is good, but Russell Wilson's not playing well, they're going to try and keep winning, in which case you probably go with Jameis.
Yeah.
If the team is bad, how often do we see a bad team bring in a rookie QB and then good things happen?
Exactly.
Like even with the Patriots last year, like I had hope for Drake May, but it was a bad team that benched their bad quarterback, and the backup quarterback came in to play on a terrible team. And he was not, you couldn't start Drake May. So I think we got to throw him down there. I think we got him. Coming up next here, we have Justin Fields.
Oh.
Yes, Mr. Justin Fields. Not everybody's got a picture in their current jersey.
I'm going to say upside QB too.
No arguments against it, man.
I mean, it's the rushing element. It's having Garrett Wilson. It's developing a relationship between him and Mason Taylor, his tight end. He's got a great pass catching running back in Breece Hall. He's got another running back in Braylon Allen who can catch a pass or two here, but again, he's got weaponry around him, and this is a new era for the Jets. And Tanner Engstrand had to have signed off on the Jets bringing in Justin Fields. If he had to say that he can design a scheme that is, Lions adjacent, but that it features some of the strengths of Justin Fields. So I've been taking him in a bunch of these beat bender best ball drafts as like a late QB2, early QB3.
You're absolutely right. And the thing is, no one ever says like, we're going to bring in Justin Fields and we're going to change the way he plays. Everybody's the same way about it. They're like, you know what? We think we can win with the way he plays. And the way he plays is so good for fantasy football. Like if you just take all his games and average them out, like when he doesn't get hurt or benched in those games, he's putting up QB1 level numbers. So, just because the rushing alone. So the floor isn't great. Quarterback is a position where we don't care about floor. I don't care. All I care about is upside. So he's got to be an upside QB too.
Well,
got to be.
I do like some floor. If we're drafting with the yin yang tight, the yin yang philosophy, and I'm getting myself an upside guy, I like good floor guys for my backups.
Okay, but yeah, let's put it this way: in that yellow range, right? Yeah. So in that category, we don't care about floor. In some of the other ones, we do. You're right about that. What about this handsome fellow here, Mr. Joey Flacco?
It's so funny. I hear he's actually the lead to start in Cleveland right now.
And just if he gets that starting job, it's another one of those situations where when he starts, it's such high tempo offense. It's good for all the short, shallow targets. And the way he plays, he has no interest in running. He's audibling into quick passes. I mean, with both the Jets and the Browns and the Colts, he was throwing the ball like 40, 50 times a game. So I think he's got to be at least should they start. I don't think we could possibly put him in. You can't tie the word safe to a guy like that.
I'm not gonna tie the word safe to him because he's good for like a game or two for fantasy purposes, and then all of a sudden, then he kind of shows up the fact that he's his age and level of abilities. Like, I mean, we can't sit there and like keep hitching our wagon expecting that because I think that's a problem that a lot of fantasy owners have. They see Joe Flacco and they're like, oh, he's going to throw it 50 times this game. He's going to throw for 400 yards. It doesn't happen every single time.
Right. Not every time.
So, yeah.
But yeah. Okay. So I think he should start, which means using the process of elimination, seeing Jared Goff here next, knowing this is alphabetical order, this fella here has to be Dylan Gabriel, right? So
Yeah.
I
Put him on the bench.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll put him on the bench. But let me just ask this one question: would Kirk Cousins or Dylan Gabriel, if gun to your head, 30-round draft?
Kirk Cousins.
Okay, so we'll put him there at the end. Jared Goff. Jared Goff, he has to go in safe QB, right?
Mm-hmm. And ahead of Darnold for sure.
Ahead of Darnold. Yeah, he could end up being get over there. Does he have the kind of upside though? I don't know.
Does Goff have upside?
I don't think he does really. He'd have to throw like 40 touchdowns because he doesn't run ever, right?
Yeah,
no one runs less than him.
He's not a runner. Well, Sam Darnold probably runs less than.
I'll have to check that because Goff has not run for 100 yards in like 5 years. 100 yards, maybe though. Let me check. Let me check that real quick. You might be right. You might be right. Dude.
I don't know. I don't recall Sammy Darnold picking up a whole lot of rushing yardage.
Actually, yeah. We only have one real full game season sample size. I'll pull it. Yeah, 67 rushing yards for. Oh no, 212 rushing yards for Sammy Darnold. He was kind
last year, yeah.
He was scampering a little bit, dude.
Wow. Scampering for 212. I don't know. That might be pushing it. Who's next?
On 67 carries. Here's a good one. Here's an interesting one. Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert, I mean, probably has to go QB1, right?
Yeah, probably. I think he's like right there. I like the fact that he added rushing to his elements there, but I would leave him in the QB1 range for right now because of where he's going in drafts. I think that, if he rushes more, then we can move him up in the rankings, but I don't necessarily think you're not looking at him as like an upside guy who's like, going to tack on some added stuff. It's a run first offense. Stop moving it. Where are you moving it?
I'm like looking at this. I'm like, he could go anywhere in there. He could he could go anywhere in there.
He could, but I'm not looking at him as like I'm looking at Justin Herbert as being a guy where if if the top tier guys are off the board and you missed out on the Bo Nixes and Kyler Murrays of the world, the upside rushing guys, then then you go over to Justin Herbert. He's like right in there.
I never feel great picking Justin Herbert. I really don't. I think the big problem you run into is like, even if you have Ladd McConkey, do you feel like, oh yeah, I just got the stack that's going to win everything? It never feels like it never feels like a special pick. But it's the
scheme. It's the scheme. It's knowing what Greg Roman and those guys want to do.
Yeah. Next guy here, Will Howard, has a path to potential playing time if the Steelers sit back and do nothing and it's just him and Mason Rudolph. But even if he's a starter for the Steelers and Arthur Smith, bad, right?
Yeah. I'm not digging on him.
I'll put him ahead of Dylan Gabriel. We don't really need to say much about him. This guy here, Jalen Hurts. He's going to go up here. Yeah. Yep. After Daniels?
Yeah, I put him after Daniels.
That's where I have him too. All right, let's just get this whole discussion out of the way right now with this guy here. Is this the QB1 overall or QB2?
I'm going to put him as QB1.
I think I'm getting there too. We'll have to see if Johnny and Pemba can stamp that in and make it official for the fantasy alarm. But I feel best about him. He is a year younger than Josh Allen, and it's just like I just don't see a world where he goes out and, if he's healthy, doesn't run 120 times, right? It's like he ran like 170 times last year or something like that. I mean, statistically, I honestly am having trouble like kind of rationalizing why Josh Allen almost always goes first.
I definitely wonder why Josh Allen. I mean, because he's more likable and the world is filled with racists. We could legitimately
could be that.
Like that argument has been made. I mean, listen, true. I think Lamar Jackson deserved the MVP last year. I think he should have gotten it 2 years in a row. Statistically, he was a better QB than Josh Allen, but the politics that goes on behind the scenes, gives us, Josh Allen is this rah guy that the NFL wants Josh Allen as the face of the NFL. And, love it or hate it. I just think it's, because here's the thing. If you're sitting there and if you're competing against the Ravens and they're running an RPO, all right, are you going to focus on Lamar Jackson and just kind of give way to Derrick Henry? Or are you going to focus on Derrick Henry, knowing that you're going to have to still cover the pass with Lamar Jackson? You're going to have to do that. When you're looking at the Bills running an RPO, everybody's focused on Josh Allen. Nobody's focused on James Cook. Nobody's focused on any of the receiving options there. And I think that that's something that's going to it opens up bigger, wider lanes and more opportunity for Lamar Jackson. I just think it's a more productive offense, actually.
Yeah, not to mention, like, I was going back to kind of watch some of the highlights for like Isaiah Likely and stuff, and there were so many plays where it's like Lamar Jackson could have chosen how to score a touchdown any way he wanted. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like, he's that kind of guy where he's finding wide open plays. He could have taken it himself. He could have thrown it. It's just like, he's, for fantasy football, there's no question. If people want to make an argument about like voting to protect, voting about legacy or whatever for MVP, I don't care. He's my QB1 for fantasy. Will this guy be the QB1 of the Colts? This would be Daniel Jones here up on the block.
I'll put him in a they should start.
Yeah.
Because I do think he should start. And I mean,
if he does, he would have more fantasy value than Flacco.
I'd keep him behind Flacco for the time being, because Flacco, at least according to all the reports, is going to be the lead guy there. You still think that the Colts, barring anything crazy that happens to start the season, they're going to want to try and, really just take one last shot at Anthony Richardson.
I think they should. I think they should, because it's so much easier to start Anthony Richardson and then bench him than it is to start your conservative guy and then turn around and bench him for the other guy. You know what I mean? Because if you bench Daniel Jones and bring in Anthony Richardson, he's even worse.
Yeah,
that's a nightmare. So
then you're just raising the white flag on the season,
on the whole season. Yeah. And it's like, at that point, they really should just roll Richardson out, which then there's an interesting case for him, but we'll get to him. Trevor Lawrence, this is probably safe QB2 range somewhere.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if Liam Cohen can do for him what he did for Baker Mayfield, then great.
Right.
But I'm not going to bank on that yet.
Darnold or you got to go Trevor over Darnold, right?
Probably. It's going to be a more pass-centric type of offense.
Yeah, fully agree. This would be Mr. Will Levis. Let's just go ahead and put him down here. I still see the highlights of some of his throws. He has a cannon.
Can you move him further to the right?
We will. Don't
Not
worry.
Yet.
We will.
Does he have to go adjacent to the guy? I mean,
I think we'll be able to get him down there.
This is not the QB2 you were looking for.
That's he can spin a football, though. There's no doubt about it. But there's more to playing quarterback than having a strong arm, it turns out. Jordan Love goes in the safe QB2 range, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, I'm fine, either way, ahead or behind Trevor Lawrence. I think that there's a lot of questions that need to be answered here by Jordan Love, who regressed in year 2. It was, it was a little depressing to see him regress the way he did, but what you're doing by capitulating to the fan base and taking, Matthew Golden in the first round, making that very first wide receiver taken in the last 30 years of drafts for the Packers. So I think they want him to succeed. It's a run first scheme with what Matt LaFleur wants to do. But I mean, you can't tell me that you've got 5 deep at the wide receiver position, plus 2 tight ends in Musgrave and Kraft, and you're not, hoping that we're going to see something good for Jordan Love.
Right. And I've been working on the target totem pole and the RB questionnaire and all that stuff that's coming soon with the draft guide. And you come across some interesting stats when you're like going through everything like that. One thing that you alluded to there is that the Packers were dead last in called pass plays. So even though the Eagles ended up last in attempts, they were calling pass plays, but Jalen Hurts was running himself a lot of times, and that kind of changes the numbers. LaFleur straight up called the fewest pass plays. There were the fewest dropbacks. So maybe there will be some positive regression, or maybe they'll just do more of the same.
Well, that was the thing. That was the thing. You know what? I mean, Jordan Love needs to, he needs to borrow Aaron Rodgers' balls and put those in his pants and use those, because that's what LaFleur did to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was like, screw that. I'm just going to keep calling pass plays. I'm going to keep audibling at the line. So maybe if Jordan Love can, if Aaron Rodgers retires this year, maybe Love can hit him up and be like, yo, can I just borrow those huevos rancheros for the season?
Can I use the cojones? Because Rodgers would do that 1 yard line every time. They, get up there, run formation. Now I'm throwing.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That would be nice. Here's an interesting one, because if this were just an NFL standpoint, we would just put him in the elite. Patrick Mahomes, though, probably has to go in this tier, right?
Yeah, QB1.
Here, right?
QB1. Yeah, I would put him right in there, right second, to Joe Burrow. I'm fine with that. I mean, until we start seeing Mahomes deliver through the air what he was doing 3 or 4 seasons ago, I mean, you have to kind of put him back. Kelsey's aging. The receivers are having trouble staying healthy. And, I think that while as great as Mahomes is, he's not at the elite level right now anymore.
For fantasy football, no, because he's going through what Peyton Manning went through. Peyton Manning came out early in his career, and they put everything on him, and he threw 49 touchdown passes. They won 12 games one year. Then the defense got better. Then the run game got better. All of a sudden, he was having years where he's throwing 25, 26, but they're winning 14 games. I mean, how can we go like Patrick Mahomes didn't have to do anything? They won 15 games, and they went 15-1 under Mahomes. He sat out the last game of the year. It's so hard to complain about that, but in fantasy football, I don't want that. So
exactly.
He is still QB1. Speaking of handsome, elite QB1s, Drake May. How high are we putting Drake May?
As it stands right now, I would actually look at Drake May as an upside QB2.
Yes, that's where I have him as well.
He runs the football. Stephon Diggs did his best to, say he's sorry to the coaches, right? Yeah, I got these hoes sitting on this boat, and we got some pink cocaine floating around here, which isn't even really cocaine necessarily. It's a combo powder of like MDMA with some ketamine in there, and it's just it's a concoction.
Just wide receiver one stuff, Plus, it wasn't even.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, is that's my biggest issue with Stephon Diggs right now, is that he's taking the Odell Beckham route.
Right.
Once you start taking pictures on a boat and there's concerns, then all of a sudden it starts to fizzle out. But you're making a commitment by bringing in a guy like Stephon Diggs. You're making a commitment to Drake May, just like the Packers did with drafting Matthew Golden. You're bringing in an elite, a wide receiver one for Drake May, saying, this is your offense. Here is your primary target. You'll do what you do, and we'll go from there.
Right. And they drafted a guy, Kyle Williams, that, hey, maybe he can help. Hunter Henry's still there. He'll be fine. Would you rather have him or Fields right now,
though? I think I'd rather have Fields right now.
Yeah, it's close. The thing is, like, Fields does go ahead in ADP just because, Fields is more athletic. Like, Drake May is definitely willing to run. And he had 420 yards on only 54 carries, which is pretty good. That's pretty good higher yards per attempt than Josh Allen and Bo Nix, but he's just not Justin Fields. Like, he's probably not going to go out and bust off like 125-yard rushing games. No, the value is 50 yards. 50 yards rushing and a touchdown is all you need, and then the passing on top of that is gravy.
Yeah.
Next man here, another really interesting one, Baker Mayfield, because top 10 in virtually every stat last year, and he's being drafted as if he's going to do it again. Where do you live on him?
I'm putting him at QB1 for right now. I'm putting him behind Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Josh Grizzard is taking over as the offensive coordinator, and Josh Grizzard has been a passing game coordinator, a quarterback's coach for his entire career, right? And we saw him Where was he before he was with Tampa Bay?
I knew you were going to ask that, and I was literally just talking about this the other day.
I think it's
Rams?
he comes off of I believe he comes off of the McVay
The McVay
coaching,
tree. So it was either Rams or Jags.
which is related. It is related to a Shanahan offense because McVay worked alongside Kyle Shanahan for Mike Shanahan. So there are similarities there. But for me, the reason I keep Baker in this spot is because Grizzard, again, you don't draft a guy like Amika Egbuka if you're not planning on beefing up some of that passing a little bit more.
Right. They could be running 4 wide receiver sets. I mean, there are teams that sit back and say, hey, we're going to lean into the run game. We're going to go all offensive line. No, they didn't do that at all. They're playing huck it, chuck it football still. So, and again, it's a, when your offensive coordinator leaves because he gets fired, then you change what you're doing. When he leaves because he's doing too good, then you just try and keep doing what you're doing. Right. Like that's the game. Next guy here, another interesting one, JJ McCarthy.
I'm going to put him as up. I mean, for me, he's upside QB2.
Yeah, see that I feel the same, man. We're in too much agreement here. I thought I was gonna have to fight for that. But the more I look at it, he's walking into such a good situation. When you look at his props, Vegas agrees that, like, I saw a passing TD prop for him that was like 26, right? 25 and a half, which doesn't seem like that much. But where they set those lines, that's like top 7 or 8 quarterback in terms of passing touchdowns. He's got all the weapons. Sam Darnold did it. I mean, he has to go there. I think he does.
The only thing I hate about JJ McCarthy is that stupid haircut.
It's
that haircut for kids these days, that like little poof up top, and I just
broccoli hat.
It's a terrible look. I'm so thankful that look was never popular in the 70s or 80s. I mean, at least for men. Yeah, right? It's definitely a 1980s kind of Karen housewife look.
Yeah, it's infiltrated, man. I was just hoping it would stay on TikTok, but no. It's in the NFL now.
He looks like he could be like a backup singer for like Roxette.
Do we move him down?
No. He still has the rushing upside. He still has some rushing upside, and he's got great weaponry. So I'm fine watching him grow and ascend. I can't wait till he changes his hairstyle.
Yeah, you would think there'd be more bullying in an NFL locker room to fix that. We'll keep an eye on that. That's bring back a little. That should be our new motto. Bring back a little bit of bullying. And speaking of mobile upside, this one here is Jalen Milroe, which I don't know. I don't think he should start. I don't think he should start, but when we're ranking,
he's upside, right there. I'd put him second behind Dart.
Yeah.
Only because I think that Dart stands a better chance of seeing early time than Milroe does. I know Milroe's got rushing upside, and I know that what Mike McDonald is hoping Clint Kubiak is going to do is turn Milroe into the next Lamar Jackson type guy. Like that's the offense that he really wants to have there. But I think Milroe hangs on the bench for the year still.
Right, exactly. And that category has to be a mix of will they start and what happens if they do start, but will they start has to come first.
Yeah.
It has to come first because if you don't, it doesn't matter what the potential is. If you never start, that's 0 points. So we're through about half of these. So let's see if we can rapid fire a couple. These two are 2 players we both like. So Kyler Murray coming up now.
I'll put him as QB1.
QB1. Okay, good. Because I'm feeling the same way.
And I'll actually put him ahead of Baker.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Because I think for Baker, things went exactly perfect for Baker. He made a lot of money hitting all those milestones and everything, but it's hard to say it's going to go the same way. Now, Bo Nix, this one becomes very interesting because Baker goes ahead of him, but I would definitely prefer Bo Nix at ADP.
Mm-hmm.
Would you outright prefer Bo Nix?
I prefer Bo Nix to Baker Mayfield flat out. I definitely do.
I do as well.
Yeah, it's just yeah.
Yeah.
I just
No,
you're talking about 500-600 rushing yards. You're talking about they just gave him Evan Engram as a nice receiving weapon. They bring in Pat Bryant as another receiving weapon as well. I saw you tweeting about Marvin Mims at some point or another.
mhm.
So yeah, I like Bo up there. I'll take him.
Yeah. The great thing for Bo is they went out and they drafted a pass catching back. And remember the Drew Brees years. Drew Brees was obviously awesome, but having a running back that never rushes for 1,000 yards because he's catching so many passes is a really good thing for the quarterback because you get all those points, man.
Now
For
I might be a little crazy here, but would you consider moving Justin Herbert 2 spots to the right?
see, I have no problem with that.
There you go.
I have no
Now I
problem
feel
with that.
good.
And then we'll just move Drake May right
No,
here.
no,
And
no, no. No.
but you don't have to. That's the thing. And I don't think you should. Because he just doesn't go, he doesn't get drafted anywhere close to that tier anyway. He is an upside QB2 because he goes QB 16. The thing is, if his ADP were to get steamed up into that range, I don't know if it would scare me. So jot that down. Let's see. We're doing
Write that down.
alphabetical order here. This guy is going to be Michael Penix.
Oh,
Starter for sure.
starter for sure. Safe QB2. I'd be okay with him in that range. And I'd
Yeah.
probably put him right there where you have him. I don't even know if I'd put him ahead of Darnold yet.
I think right there. I think
Yeah.
right there. A lot of people have positive things to say, but we still have, it's such a small sample size, but he's got weapons, no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Kenny, this is Kenny Pickett. So down here, Kenny. Before or after Kirk Cousins? I think before,
You
right?
can put him before Cousins. He probably gets on the field before Cousins, unless Cousins gets traded to Pittsburgh.
Cousins not even on a team. So, and again, if he goes to Pittsburgh, what's the upside, man? He looked like the Tin Man last year. It was rough. Dak Prescott.
I'll put Dak Prescott, now that he's got the second weapon, I'll put Dak Prescott in the QB1 range.
Ooh,
I really would.
I
I
like
really
that.
would. I would put him at the tail end of it. Because I mean, you've got what, 4 guys right there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This puts Dak Prescott as like QB 11.
Right.
I
And
don't.
if
I
somebody
don't mind
comes
it.
along, we can move him out, but I don't know how many names
we could.
I don't know how many names we're missing though.
I guess we should probably put him in safe QB2 range there, because if we got Goff over there, then I think we need to put Dak in there also. There is no running game there, so let's
He's one of those
move
guys that could go
him
in
down.
anywhere in here, right?
You can put him right there. You can put him ahead of Goff. I'm okay.
I have met a Goff. But he does statistically go out and I'm hearing reports that Miles Sanders is the best looking running back on that team right now in OTAs. And if he's the best looking back on your team, that is bad news.
That is terrible.
that doesn't mean that he looks good. That's funny about beat writers is they're like, yeah, he looks the best. It's like everyone else is like, that means that's bad. That means everybody else looks terrible. So I am certainly concerned there for the run game, which is good for the pass game. We could slide him into upside QB2.
You could.
I don't know, because he's got to go ahead of McCarthy, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I think that's where he's got to live, man. I think that's where he's got to live. Brock Purdy should probably be like the poster for this
for safe.
Just put him right there. Just have that be the picture for the category. Him or Goff though.
I'd probably go with Goff just until we see what everything else that happens with that. I can't believe they paid Brock Purdy all that money. I
know. That's wild. Whoever made this, I did not make this one. I made the rookie ones because they didn't exist. Whoever made this one put Desmond Ridder in here for some reason, so we'll just put him there at the end.
Just tuck him away.
I mean, like, what opportunity would he even have to potentially start for anybody? So we'll put him there. This is an interesting one. Anthony Richardson. Yeah, where he's either should start or upside QB2.
Upside QB2. I put him right there. I just leave him behind Puffy Head.
He'll be we'll just assign him the last spot in that category, no matter what.
We need like a seventh tier here, just being like, oh no.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I mean, well, if he starts, it's, but he was so brutal passing, but I mean, you can't deny the upside. That's the thing about the kind of setting it up this way is that there are certain guys that either don't start at all, but he's not a safe QB2 by any means, not even close. Aaron Rodgers, you can have the honors on this one.
Just put him on the bench.
Should he start for the Steelers?
He shouldn't start for anybody, actually.
Okay.
He really shouldn't. I'll put him behind Cousins. I'd rather see him behind Kirk Cousins.
Okay. I feel like he has to go higher.
I wouldn't.
Not
until he signs with a team. He really needs to retire.
I'll let you stamp that. Yeah,
he really needs to retire. I will quadruple stamp him on the bench.
Okay, good. Yeah. This handsome fella here looks like Mason Rudolph, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Which, as of right now, they should start.
Yeah.
At this moment.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to put unless we
put him ahead of Daniel Jones because he's at least got the starting gig for the time being.
And otherwise, at this moment, like if we're just going based on what's happening right now, otherwise we have to put Will Howard in that category.
No, not yet.
Can't. Here we have Shadur Sanders.
They should start, I think, because I think that he's probably gonna surpass Flacco at some point. I think they want Shadur Sanders in there. No, you keep him behind Daniel Jones. I think I'm fine with that because Cleveland's just it's up in the air.
Yeah, and here's another they should start because I think this guy becomes an interesting best ball pick at ADP because he could start every game for his team. That's Tyler Shuck.
Yep.
I think I'd put him at the start. Right there.
Yep.
I'll put him at the beginning of that category. Geno Smith.
I'll put him as a safe QB too.
I think I'd rather have Penix though.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means we put him here because Pete Carroll. That is such a weird team. Is that the weirdest team in the league right now? That is such a strange team because now they have a crazy good running back. Now they have the best tight end and one of the best running backs in the league. And the rest of the team is just like
no wide receivers
and nothing. And they picked every team went out and picked the player that looks most like their best wide receiver, right? Like the Buccaneers took Emeka Egbuka because they have Godwin. They went out and took the most Jacoby Myers guy possible in Jack Besh. So I don't know what to do with either of those guys either. Very strange team. This is a guy I like. I have this. This is a safe QB2 range guy for me.
Stafford? Yeah. I would put him in there. I'd put him ahead of Darnold and Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I like him a lot, man. I think that with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, could be big things for him. Could be big things.
I just stacked them in a best ball. Mahomes was my first QB in that best ball. I paired up Mahomes with Travis Kelce just to kind of differentiate my my portfolio a little bit. And then, but I had taken Puka Nacua and I had taken Devontae Adams knowing that I could, at the very tail end of the draft, 12th, 13th, 14th round, I could still grab Matthew Stafford and be fine with that. I think he's safe.
Yeah, I've done that. I kind of forced that in one of my best ball mania drafts. And then I did it naturally later. I don't know how many times I'm going to do it, but it's so easy. It's so easy to get that crew. And it could be if you're sitting here trying to paint a picture where somebody does what Chase, Higgins, and Burrow did, which is basically just go out in the last few games of the year, 3 touchdown passes each game, 300 yards, and it really just goes to 2 guys. And that's how somebody won $1.5 million last year. It's like that combination has to be on the list, right? Yeah. That combination, the JJ McCarthy type combinations, like, you gotta give yourself a chance in those formats for sure. CJ Stroud. I'm hearing that he's not throwing at OTAs because his shoulder is sore.
Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
I'm not sure how worried. Let's just assume he's fully healthy. Where do you go?
If he's fully healthy, I'm putting him right behind Jordan Love.
Yeah, they're like the same guy.
Yeah,
same guy.
It's the same picture.
One of these is a picture of a what's the one from Brooklyn Nine-Nine? I love that one too. And he's like, one of these is a picture of a dumpster and one's a picture of your locker. which one's which? And he takes a guess. She goes, they're both your locker.
They're both your locker.
Next here we got Tua. I think this safe QB2 tier is going to know a big tier, but it kind of has to be.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'll leave him there, and I'll tuck him. I'll tuck him over there in between Lawrence and Darnold. I would.
Yeah, Lawrence and Tua feel similar to me, where it's like they got the weapons. It's entirely possible. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. Next here we have Cam Ward.
They should start.
The top of the they should start category.
Yeah.
Yep. Then we have Deshaun Watson. He's not going to play this year, so we'll just look at the bench. Even created its own second special tier for Deshaun Watson.
They knew it was coming.
That's great. Wait, that's not Cam Ward. That's Malik Willis.
Oh, bench.
But if he were to play, I kind of like him. He looked okay in these few small starts. I would put him ahead of Pickett, behind Jalen Monroe.
Okay.
No opinion on that. Okay, I get it. Move on. Cam Ward, though, they should start.
Was that Cam? Well, that's Caleb Williams, isn't it?
That's Caleb Williams, yes.
So Caleb, I think I would put him as a. I think I would.
Wait, probably. So this is Cam Ward then.
Is that Cam Ward?
Yes. Yes, it is. It has to be. Cam Ward has to be on here.
Who's there at the bottom? Who are those guys?
The last three left are Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Bryce Young.
Okay.
So that is Cam Ward.
All right. So that's Cam Ward. Caleb Williams, I think you need to move up.
Yes.
I would probably put him at the tail end of like an upside QB2. I think that there's a lot of potential there. I think that he's got the receiving weapons. I think he's got the coach to help take him somewhere. I don't necessarily, I can't say that he's safe. I mean,
no, but you're right though. You're right, because you look at the guys in safe QB2 and there only a couple of them could like take their game into another level and keep it there. Right. Like we could see Jordan Love and CJ Stroud like take that step. CJ Stroud's 23 years old.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams could take it to another level this year in this new offense with those crazy weapons he has. And he could really push. I mean, he could push the envelope,
I think so.
I think he has to go.
I think so.
We'll put him ahead of Anthony Richardson.
That's fine. Yeah. I'd even take him ahead of JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, broccoli boy. There you go.
It's the hair.
Yeah. All right. We got Russell Wilson. To me, they should start, but I don't even think that he should go ahead of Cam Ward or Tyler Shaw.
No, because his job is definitely he's living on the hot seat.
Yeah, but I'd take him ahead of Joe Flacco.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Jameis Winston. It makes me so sad to see that smiling face and put him down here.
I would put him ahead of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Go away. These two guys need to go away.
So they're
just rubbing Can I switch this pointer to an eraser and just kind of get them out of here? And then the last one is actually kind of a really interesting one. Bryce Young, because he played a lot better towards the end of last year. They were pushing teams like the Chiefs and the Eagles to the very limit, but they're still Panthers. And Ted McMillan doesn't necessarily move the needle like crazy.
Yeah, I'd keep him here as a safe QB2.
Yeah, I don't know if I can't put him in upside QB2.
No, because there's no like rushing upside to him. It's still a run first offense with Dave Canales running the show. So, I mean, I'm fine putting him ahead of Geno Smith if that's what you're looking to do.
I am. Michael, if you're on the clock right now, you take no stacks, no correlation, just by themselves. Michael Penix or Bryce Young? That's the question I'm asking myself.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go with Michael Penix only because he looks like he's like 82 years old.
Yeah.
He's got that experience.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got the weapons. Like, if you gave Bryce Young, Darnell Mooney looked good last year. Drake London was awesome. Bijan Robinson's awesome. And, Kyle Pitts, say what you will, like, he can still make a big play every now and again. He had a 50-yard touchdown. So, I think that's it. I think that's how it looks.
Is Michael Penix the Greg Oden of football?
Don't you ever say that, dude, because Greg Oden, I think, definitely was older than his birth certificate said. There's no doubt about it.
He's opening it up. I'm 12.
I'm 12. He had that David, his birth certificate, the person that notarized it was David Ortiz. You know, like there's no possibility, you know, there's no way. So don't say that. Don't say that about Penix. So this is it. I feel good about this. I feel good about this. If we had kept Dak up there, we would have been in trouble, I think. But I think we put it in the right spot.
Yeah, I think upside QB too. Again, you're giving him another weapon. It is a pass-heavy scheme, so he does have the upside of really surpassing the numbers that he's put up over the last couple of years.
Yes, and that's the difference between him and that's how small the difference can be between the group he's in and the safe QB2 group, because that's where he would be if they didn't trade for Pickens. Flat out. That's where I had him, but I moved him up. That's where we're living. All right, everybody. So thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to hit on the other positions next couple of weeks because I think this is a lot of fun. Hit that like and subscribe button. And we have a lot of cool stuff coming for you guys. We got the draft guide coming out pretty soon with all your favorites. Target totem pole, yin and yang tight end, RB questionnaire, all in the works now. So thank you guys. Make sure, again, like, subscribe, comment, do what you can to support the channel. We really appreciate it.